چشمم پلیسه رفت اصلا چشمم پلیسه رفت بعد چشمم قرنیش پاره شده نمیبینم بعد موتور زد پام اتوبان فرار کرد موتوریه.
Iran is one of the most misunderstood countries on Earth. Ask 10 people what they think of it, and you'll hear 10 versions of fear, silence, and suspicion. For decades, it's been framed as dangerous, closed off, and extreme. But what happens when you stop watching from afar and start walking its streets? In this episode of NVL Travel Documentary, we step closer, not to confirm what's been said, but to see what's been left unsaid. Number 1. The truth you've seen. They say Iran is extreme in ideology, in isolation, in everything. But for many Iranians, the struggle is far more basic than borders or beliefs. It's about getting through the day. Just beyond the highways of Tehran, past the billboards and government buildings, you'll find neighborhoods that rarely make it into documentaries. Dirt roads lined with makeshift homes. Walls made of broken bricks and tarps. Power lines patched together with plastic rope. Poverty isn't hidden, it's daily life there. Children chase one another through alleys filled with dust and debris. Many of them aren't in school. According to data from Iran's Ministry of Welfare, in 2024, more than 160,000 school-aged children in low-income areas are currently out of formal education. That's not because education is banned, it's because survival comes first. School supplies, transportation, even a pair of shoes. For some families, these are luxuries they simply cannot afford. Yes, this part of Iran is hard. And yes, the media gets that part right to a point. But here's what most people miss: resilience. What holds these neighborhoods together isn't policy, it's people. Parents share what little they have. Teenagers help younger kids with homework when schools don't. You won't see that on the news, but it's happening quietly every day. So is this all there is to Iran? The answer is no. Tehran, a capital of nearly 15 million people, buzzes with contradiction. It's where centuries-old traditions blend with luxury shopping malls, rooftop cafes, designer boutiques, subway lines, and startup hubs. And not far from these streets, the reality begins to shift. And it's nothing like what you've been told to expect. Another side of life begins to emerge, one that doesn't fit into any media myth, but exists all the same. Now let's go further. Let's look at the assumptions that follow Iran wherever it's mentioned, and ask if any of them truly hold up. Number 2. The Iran they don't show you. It's one of the most outdated cliches still floating around, that Iran is a country where daily life unfolds on camelback, with no trace of modernity in sight. But step into any major Iranian city, and that image vanishes instantly. In Tehran, you'll see high-speed metro lines, cashless cafes, and traffic jams filled with locally produced sedans and foreign imports. In Isfahan or Shiraz, you'll find shopping malls, co-working spaces, and neighborhoods with fiber internet faster than many places in the West. Far from being stuck in time, Iran is home to one of the most self-reliant science and technology sectors in the region. Despite heavy international sanctions, the country has made notable advances in key fields. It has successfully launched satellites and developed its own space program. Its scientists and engineers contribute to aerospace design, nanotechnology, and nuclear physics. Even on social media, where filters often tell more than facts, Iran looks nothing like the stereotype. The Instagram account, Rich Kids of Tehran, though controversial, has gone viral for showcasing luxury cars, rooftop pools, branded clothing, and private parties. A side of Iran that exists well beyond the camel narrative. Of course, not every Iranian lives this way. Rural areas still exist. Some communities do rely on donkeys for transport in mountainous terrain, but so do innovation hubs. Smart cities and tech entrepreneurs building lives in a nation far more complex and far more modern than most outside viewers are led to believe. Iran living in parallel versions of the present, and that perhaps is what makes it most real. Number 3. Iranians aren't Arabs. From the outside, it's easy to group Iran in with its Arab neighbors. Same region, same religion, same script. But the truth, like most things here, is more layered. Iran is not an Arab country, and most Iranians are not Arabs. The largest ethnic group is Persian. Yes, but Iran is home to a rich mix of peoples such as Azeris Kurds, Lurs, Arabs, Baluchis, Turkmens, and others. Persians make up the majority, but not the whole. And even within Persian identity, regional accents, customs, and traditions vary wildly. What unites Iranians isn't a single race or ethnicity. It's a shared historical and cultural fabric, one rooted in Persian civilization shaped by Islam and stretched across millennia. So where does the confusion come from? Partly the Arabic script, partly the religion, and partly the habit of lumping the entire Middle East into one label Arab. But just because Iranians use the Arabic alphabet doesn't mean they speak Arabic, any more than Indonesians become Dutch because they use the Latin alphabet. The national language is Farsi, or Persian, an Indo-European language with its own grammar rhythm and literary legacy. If you speak Arabic in Tehran, most people won't understand you. Not because they reject it, but because it's simply not their tongue. So the truth is that Iranians are not Arabs, and they don't speak Arabic. When we collapse cultures into categories that don't fit, we miss everything in between. The nuance, the contradiction, the richness. Number 4, is Iran really aggressive? The idea that Iran is aggressive didn't appear out of nowhere. For decades, the country's tense relationship with the United States, marked by hostage crises, sanctions threats, and rhetoric, has shaped its image on the global stage. But if you shift the focus from headlines to historical facts, a different pattern emerges. In the modern era, Iran has not initiated a major war. Its longest and deadliest conflict, the Iran-Iraq War, began in 1980 when Iraq invaded Iran, not the other way around. What followed was 8 years of devastating defense, not expansion. Today, Iran's military doctrine still emphasizes no first strike. Top officials regularly cite this principle as central to their national defense. And while the country maintains a large military apparatus, it's important to put it in context. According to data from the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, Iran has one of the highest per capita military spending in the Persian Gulf region, significantly lower than countries like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, or Qatar. That's not to excuse Iran's regional behavior. It does project influence often through proxies and alliances. But there's a difference between strategic posturing and outright aggression. More importantly, this perception of hostility rarely matches the atmosphere on the ground. Talk to ordinary Iranians in cafes, on buses in line at bakeries, and you won't hear war drums. You'll hear frustration with sanctions, anxiety about the future, and fatigue from being caught in the middle of global tension they don't control. So is Iran aggressive? Or has it been cast that way over and over because of politics, not policy. Sometimes what sounds loudest from the outside has nothing to do with how people live inside. Number 5. Religious not radicals. To many watching from the outside, Iran looks like a country where religion dictates everything. You see the black banners of Muharram televised sermons and laws written in the language of God. Iran is a theocracy. Yes, but its people are not a monolith. And religion in Iran, like everything else here, is far more layered than it first appears. Start with belief itself. Iran is predominantly Shia Muslim, but it's far from religiously uniform. The country is home to Sunni Muslims, Armenian and Assyrian Christians, Jews, Zoroastrians, and even non-religious Iranians who quietly step back from public rituals. All of them are part of the national fabric, even if not equally visible. Religion here is visible, but visibility doesn't mean extremism. It means tradition, expectation law, and in many cases, quiet negotiation. The public rituals of Shia Islam can feel intense. Mourning martyrdom and sacrifice, but intensity is not the same as fanaticism. For many, these rituals are cultural performance, not literal belief. They are inherited symbols, sometimes honored, sometimes endured, sometimes ignored. So no Iranians are not religious extremists. They're people navigating power expectation and belief in their own complicated, deeply personal ways. And the moment we flatten that into a label, we stop trying to understand them at all. Number 6. Iran isn't gray. A walk down Tehran's main streets will reveal something unexpected. You'll see cafes playing Western music bookstores, stocked with global literature, and groups of young people taking selfies beneath murals of Persepolis heroes. It's a scene far removed from the image of repression that many people hold. Consider TEDx Tehran, where despite political restrictions, young Iranians congregate. Many women attend without headscarves, engaging in discussions about identity, democracy, and transparency. Their presence exemplifies a generation that is navigating the system, not bowing to it. They pursue higher education code, start businesses, and attend underground concerts. Many have ambitions that might surprise you, dreams that transcend stereotypes of darkness and despair. Yes, there are restrictions. Surveillance and censorship are real. But young Iranians respond with humor, creativity, and innovation. Sometimes in hidden studios, sometimes in swanky cafes in northern Tehran, challenging norms and expectations. So is life in Iran really dull and oppressive? Not by any measure. The real picture is one of contradictions. Tradition mixed with modernity, control mixed with resistance identity, forged in nuances. Iran is not just a negative media image, but a multi-dimensional society rich in cultures and lifestyles. Number 7. Iran is not just a desert. When people picture Iran, they often imagine endless dunes, scorching heat, and camel caravans drifting through an empty landscape. But that image says more about Hollywood than it does about geography. Yes, Iran has deserts, vast, dramatic, and beautiful ones. The Dashti Kavir and Dashti Lut are among the largest salt and sand deserts in Asia. But that's only part of the story. Iran is one of the most geographically diverse countries in the region. The north is home to the lush green forests along the Caspian Sea. The west is dominated by the snow-covered Zagros Mountains. And in the north of Tehran, just a short drive from downtown traffic, you'll find ski resorts where Iranians hit the slopes each winter in places like Dizin Shemshak and Tochal. Dizin, for example, sits at over 2,600 meters above sea level and has been internationally ranked among top off-piste destinations. So no Iranians don't live in the desert, at least not most of them. They live in cities, in valleys, in coastal towns, in mountain villages. They deal with snow days, spring floods, forest fires, and heat waves. Assuming Iran is just desert isn't just geographically wrong. It's a shortcut to ignoring the country's richness in terrain, in lifestyle, in climate, and in how its people adapt to all of it. The landscape here doesn't fit one story, and neither do the people. Number 8. Iranians are not educated. You might expect Iran to be a place where knowledge is blocked or access to learning is limited, but that changes the moment you step into a university campus in Tehran, Isfahan, or Mashhad. Right at the entrance, you'll see students, men and women, walking with laptops, downloading lecture files via Bluetooth, gathering around bulletin boards filled with everything from robotics workshops to startup fairs and poetry readings. According to Iran's Ministry of Education, in 2025, nearly 60% of university students are women. That number doesn't just challenge stereotypes. It reshapes the future of a country often misunderstood from the outside. Across cities and rural towns alike, over 85% of Iranians are literate based on updated UNESCO data from 2024, a rate higher than many countries in the region. In these classrooms, students debate data science, autonomous robotics, film theory, and more. They're not just studying to survive, they're studying to build, to shape, and to speak to the world on their own terms. Education in Iran isn't without boundaries. Content is censored, access to the open internet is filtered, and certain topics remain off-limits. Private libraries, study groups, underground lectures, even VPNs. They're all tools in a quiet but relentless pursuit of knowledge. Number 9. Women in Iran. In universities across the country, women outnumber men in classrooms, in laboratories, and in medical schools. They don't just study, they lead. They argue, publish, challenge, and excel even in systems built to contain them. In the workplace, they're engineers, lawyers, designers, journalists. Some run companies, others run homes. Many do both. They navigate policies that push them down while quietly rising anyway. And no, they're not free from pressure or punishment. But that's not the whole story either. They say the dress code in Iran defines everything. That a piece of fabric on the head tells you exactly who a woman is or isn't. But that logic unravels the moment you walk through a crowded sidewalk in Tehran. While the hijab is required by law, it hasn't erased self-expression. In fact, it's made that expression more intentional. Some women wear the full black chador, but most don't. Instead, they wear long, stylish coats or bright tunics paired with fitted trousers. They're scarves. Often a loose suggestion, not a rigid rule. Look closer, and it's in the details that personality comes alive. Old lipstick, sharp eyeliner, sculpted brows, rings on every finger. A manto with just enough shape. A color that draws attention. This is not fashion for decoration. It's a fashion for survival. It's how women carve space where there is none. How they assert control inch by inch in a system designed to contain them. So the scarf hasn't silenced them. They've simply found new ways to speak through it. Number 10. Traffic in Iran. You hear it a lot that Iran is stuck in time, a country frozen by politics, broken by sanctions left behind by the modern world. But that's not what you see when the train pulls in. The train arrives on time. It's clean, air-conditioned, and full of people headed to work, school, or just another day in a city of nearly 10 million. This isn't a scene from Europe or East Asia, this is Iran. Across major cities like Tehran, Shiraz, Mashhad, and Isfahan, Iran has built one of the most efficient public transport systems in the region. The Tehran metro alone covers over 200 kilometers with more than 100 stations and growing. In 2025, new extensions were added to connect satellite towns, reducing traffic and giving low-income families better access to the city center. And the story doesn't end underground. Iran's national rail system spans from the Persian Gulf to the Caspian Sea linking provinces with modern electric trains. For many Iranians, it's a lifeline and proof that development continues even when sanctions and inflation say otherwise. The same goes for healthcare. Despite economic pressure, Iran maintains one of the most affordable and accessible healthcare systems in the Middle East. With over 900 public hospitals and a strong network of community clinics, basic care reaches deep into both urban and rural areas. And here's the part that surprises many. Iran is a leader in organ transplant science, stem cell research, and even cancer treatment protocols, with some patients from neighboring countries crossing borders for care. So Iran is not stuck in the past. Its problems are real, but so is its progress. Number 11. Iranians don't hate tourists. You've seen the footage of angry crowds' fists in the air chants of "Death to America." It's jarring. And if that's all you've ever seen, it's easy to assume Iranians hate the West or anyone from it. But then you land in Tehran, and something strange happens. Within minutes, someone helps you with your bag. Then another offers directions. By the end of the day, a stranger invited you home for dinner. The truth is, most Iranians don't hate Westerners. They're angry at policies, not people. What sounds like rage toward entire countries is often frustration at sanctions, invasions, double standards. And even then, most of it is directed at governments, not guests. As a traveler, you are not seen as a threat. You're seen as an opportunity, a connection to the world they've been cut off from for decades. Iran is one of the most hospitable countries on earth. This isn't just opinion, it's a pattern. Ask anyone who's been. They'll all tell you the same thing. The hardest part of traveling in Iran is politely turning down the 5th invitation for tea in one afternoon. In Persian culture, hospitality is sacred. It's not just politeness, it's pride. Welcoming a guest is a form of honor, and most people will go out of their way to make sure you feel safe, curious, and full. Iranians don't hate you. They'll probably ask what you think of their country. They'll want to know if you like the food, the architecture, or the poetry. And if you're open, they'll show you parts of their world most cameras never see. The further you walk into Iran, the more difficult it becomes to hold on to a single story. Because this country isn't built from one image, one moment, or one narrative. It's layered, complicated, and real. The only way to understand a place like Iran is to stop relying on distance and start choosing depth. Expand your lens to hold space for contradiction. Don't ask. Not just, what do I think I know, but what have I never thought to ask Iran isn't just the tension you've seen on screens. It's a society in motion, filled with color contradiction and complexity. And the way to truly understand it is to go see it for yourself. If this episode helped shift your perspective, feel free to leave a comment. We'd love to hear how your view has changed. And if you want to explore more stories like this, subscribe to NVL Travel Documentary for more journeys beyond the surface. Because the world is never just what we've heard. It's what we're willing to see and feel for ourselves.